Imagine a day when the internet simply vanishes. It's a scenario that seems almost impossible in our hyper-connected world, but what if it did happen? What if one day we woke up to find that the digital lifeline we depend on had disappeared without a trace? No more Google searches, no more social media, no more online shopping or streaming your favorite shows. The devices that once buzzed with constant notifications and updates are now eerily silent. No more instant communication with anyone outside your immediate vicinity. Phones are useless, text messages and emails are a thing of the past. The world feels much larger and more isolated. Televisions and radios are silent. The news that once flowed freely into our homes has stopped. We are left in the dark, both literally and figuratively, about what is happening in the world. The constant stream of information we take for granted has evaporated. Newsrooms are deserted, offices are empty, and the hum of technology has ceased. The silence is deafening. This is not a scene from a dystopian science fiction film. It is a very real possibility. Our reliance on the internet has made us vulnerable to its sudden disappearance. We have become so reliant on the internet that we often forget how fragile it is. We use it for everything from banking to communication, from entertainment to education. It's woven into the fabric of our daily lives. A major solar flare, a large-scale cyber attack, or even a simple technical malfunction could plunge us into a digital dark age. The threats are real and varied, and the consequences could be catastrophic. This is not a time for panic, it's a time for preparation. We need to think about how we would cope without the internet. How would we communicate? How would we access information? How would we ensure our safety and well-being? Just as we prepare for natural disasters, we must prepare for the possibility of life without the internet. This means having emergency supplies, knowing how to stay informed, and having a plan for staying in touch with loved ones. Our ancestors survived for millennia without it, and so can we. They relied on face-to-face communication, written letters, and other means that did not depend on digital technology. We can learn from their resilience. The key is to be prepared. By thinking ahead and making plans, we can ensure that we are ready for whatever comes our way. The internet may be a powerful tool, but it is not invincible. We must be ready to live without it, if necessary. The most immediate impact of an internet shutdown would be the loss of communication. We are accustomed to instant connectivity, able to reach anyone anywhere with a few taps on a screen. Without the internet, we would be thrust back into the pre-digital age. Long-distance phone calls would become unreliable or non-existent. Email would cease to function. Text messaging would be impossible. We would be left with only the most basic forms of communication, face-to-face conversations, landline telephones, if they still work, and the written word. This communication breakdown would have a ripple effect throughout society. Businesses would struggle to operate, emergency services would be hampered. Families and friends would be left wondering about the well-being of loved ones. The economic consequences of a prolonged internet outage would be catastrophic. The global economy is now inextricably linked to the internet. Trillions of dollars exchange hands digitally every day. Supply chains rely on real-time data and communication. Without the internet, financial transactions would grind to a halt. Businesses would be unable to process payments or track inventory. Global trade would slow to a crawl. The stock market, heavily reliant on high-frequency trading algorithms, could experience a complete meltdown. The result would be widespread economic hardship. Jobs would be lost. Businesses would close. The cost of goods and services would skyrocket as supply chains break down. The economic turmoil would likely lead to social unrest and political instability. Section 4. Islands in the stream. Social isolation in a disconnected world. Beyond the immediate practical challenges, an internet shutdown would have a profound impact on our social fabric. The internet has woven itself into the very essence of our daily lives, becoming a crucial part of how we interact with the world and each other. Imagine a world where the digital connections we take for granted suddenly vanish. The ripple effects would be far-reaching and deeply felt. We have become increasingly reliant on social media for news, entertainment, and staying connected with friends and family. These platforms have become our virtual town squares where we share our thoughts, celebrate milestones, and even organize movements. They are the threads that bind our social fabric together, allowing us to maintain relationships across distances and time zones. Without the internet, we would be cut off from these vital social lifelines. The sudden absence of digital communication would leave a void that many might find difficult to fill. Our daily routines, which often include checking social media updates, video calls with loved ones, and online communities, would be disrupted, leaving us feeling isolated and disconnected. The constant stream of information and entertainment would cease. News updates, live events, and the endless content that keeps us informed and entertained would no longer be at our fingertips. This blackout would not only affect our access to information, but also our ability to share our own stories and experiences with the world. We would no longer be able to share our lives with the world or see what our friends are up to. The photos, videos, and status updates that keep us connected would be replaced by silence. In an attempt to bridge this gap, we might turn to older forms of communication, like writing letters or looking through photo albums. But these would be poor substitutes for the immediacy and richness of digital interactions. This sudden isolation could lead to feelings of loneliness, anxiety, and depression. The mental health implications of being cut off from our digital social networks could be severe. For many, the internet is a source of support and community, and its absence could exacerbate feelings of isolation and despair. Moreover, the loss of social media could exacerbate existing social divisions. Social media platforms, despite their flaws, provide a space for dialogue and understanding. Without them, the echo chambers of our offline lives might become more pronounced, leading to greater misunderstandings and conflicts. Without a common online platform for dialogue and debate, people with opposing viewpoints might find it harder to understand and empathize with each other. The internet, for all its issues, offers a space where diverse perspectives can meet and interact. Its absence could deepen the divides between different social and political groups. This could lead to increased polarization and social unrest. The lack of a shared digital space for communication and understanding could make it easier for misinformation to spread and harder for communities to come together. In a world without the internet, the social fabric that holds us together could become frayed, leading to a more divided and contentious society. Section 5. Rediscovering the power of the spoken word. Communication strategies. In an offline world, we would need to relearn the art of face-to-face communication. We would need to become adept at reading body language, interpreting tone of voice, and engaging in meaningful conversations without the aid of emojis or internet slang. We would also need to rediscover the lost art of letter writing. Sending letters may seem archaic in the digital age, but it would become a vital means of communication with loved ones who live far away. Furthermore, community bulletin boards and local newspapers would experience a resurgence in popularity. These would become essential sources of information, allowing people to stay informed about local events, share news, and connect with their neighbors. Section 6. Cash is king. Navigating a world without digital transactions. An internet shutdown would force us to re-familiarize ourselves with the concept of physical currency. Imagine a world where the convenience of swiping a card or tapping your phone to make a payment is no longer an option. We would have to revert to the days when cash was the primary medium of exchange, a tangible representation of value that we can hold in our hands. Credit cards, debit cards, and online payment systems would become useless. The digital infrastructure that supports these transactions would be rendered inoperative, leaving us to rely solely on physical money. This shift would not only affect our daily purchases, but also the way businesses operate, as they would need to adapt to a cash-only model. Cash would become king once again. In this new reality, the importance of having physical currency on hand cannot be overstated. It would be the lifeline that keeps the economy moving, allowing us to buy groceries, pay for services, and conduct all manner of transactions. It would be wise to keep a supply of cash on hand, enough to cover essential expenses for at least a few weeks. This means planning ahead and ensuring that you have enough money to cover your needs in case of an extended outage. Think about your daily expenses and how much cash you would need to get by without access to digital funds. We would also need to familiarize ourselves with alternative banking methods, such as cashier's checks and money orders. These instruments, which may seem outdated in our digital age, would become essential tools for conducting larger transactions and ensuring that money can still be transferred securely. Bartering, the ancient practice of exchanging goods and services directly, could also make a comeback. In a world without digital transactions, the value of goods and services would be determined by what people are willing to trade. This could lead to a more community-oriented economy, where relationships and trust play a crucial role. In the absence of a functioning financial system, people might resort to trading goods and services to meet their needs. This could range from simple exchanges like trading homegrown vegetables for handmade crafts, to more complex arrangements involving multiple parties and a variety of goods and services. Having a skill or trade that you can barter could prove invaluable in an offline world. Whether you're a carpenter, a mechanic, or a farmer, your ability to offer something of value in exchange for other goods and services would be a key asset. This shift would not only change the way we think about money, but also the way we value our skills and contributions to the community.